Hello beautiful people on the internet. Today I have a game for you but also a lot of theory. So I'm going to explain to you how to most easily win a game of Polytopia by pinning down your opponent's ports. This is a very interesting strategy that allows tribes like Kiku and Imperius to really fight off other tribes. And of course this doesn't apply to each and every tribe because Polaris, Cymanti and Aquarion don't need ports, which allows for a very interesting dynamic by which these tribes can really counter Kiku, Kiku and the other tribes counter the other tribes, and then these tribes can counter Polaris, etc. This is a really interesting dynamic, which really makes me happy to play continents. So, I'm going to give you an example in this game, but before we get into that, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button as it really helps me out. And without further ado, let's get right into the game. So let's take a look at this game we have here, in which I'm going to show you how this concept works. So basically, we have quite some standard stuff going on, and I'm going to let it rattle on for a little bit. Basically, because of the way that this matchup is working out, Omachi is very good at expanding on the land very early on, and Kiku is pretty good at, well, expanding onto the water quite rapidly, as well as boosting the economy, so that they can quite easily get onto the water and fight from there. Now we have a very interesting situation where it's basically land battle versus sea battle, and because of the way that this map is shaped, we are going to be able to get onto the water quite rapidly, and Omaji definitely has some catching up to do with that. So I'm going to skip forward a couple of turns because here we are just getting onto the water, and both of us are now on the water. Not a huge difference here, except maybe that Umaji is claiming more of these cities on their continent at the moment. And we are now going to claim more of the water, and we are going to try to fight them from that side because that is our strong point. Do some more economy, of course. They go with sailing. Now, don't get me wrong, sailing is very important, but quite often you can get from and to the other parts of the map without needing sailing. As you can see here, all of these land masses are all connected by shallow water, which means that you don't actually need sailing, and it might even be better to go with aquaculture, because as you can see, that is going to be a pivotal part of the strategy. And yeah, first of all, of course, you need to know where your opponent's cities are, and then you want to know where to find their ports. And because ports are quite expensive, you can't just spam them all over the place, especially since they don't give you two populations like they used to a very long time ago, that is. So we need to set up so that we have vision on their ports as much as possible. And of course we don't want the same thing to happen to us. I'm going to skip to the end of this turn. Okay, we see their first boat, and we can see one of their ports. The other one is not in our vision field yet. But because we are a bit earlier on the water than they were, we can get aquaculture, get our boat, especially rams are really good at this, and pin down one of their ports. And now they have to kill this rammer to even be able to get onto the water, which they are going to need to invest some stars to get into. And yes, sure, they can kill it. That's no biggie at all. But it actually is a big problem for them, because we can keep doing this, and we can also keep killing all of their other naval units. And because we have a small advantage in the amount of ports that we can place, because our economy is just a bit better, we can basically stop them from ever gaining momentum on the water, which is going to allow us to keep pinning down their ports. And if they can't have units on the water, how are they going to fight us on the water? They can't, and that's how you can win a game very simply, just by pinning down some important locations. So that is it for today. It has been a very short one, but I think that this is a very pivotal moment in strategy. It's one of the easiest ways for even a not so experienced player to really fight good players, but just by understanding how these sports work and how you can get an advantage by basically stopping your opponent from getting onto the water. It's really quite simple. So I hope that you had some useful information that you can get from this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, as it really helps me out. And that is it. So see you in the next one. Goodbye.